Hoy there, it's Skyward Shield. Welcome to week 9 of Football Talks. We are very much past the halfway point, and I'm joined by Bill. Say hello, Bill.
Hey, oh my god, it's going to be amazing today, oh my.
Yeah, half the teams we talk about won, and we are going to be covering those games. Well, 3 of them because one, okay, I didn't tell you this till now, Bill, but I was going to see that Lions game, but I woke up to my alarm like 10 minutes late. Thank God for auto snooze. But when that happened, I woke up to the score of 14-3. So I like, fuck this. I went back to sleep. I slept through that whole game.
Good.
Not worth it. So
Not
yeah, I
worth
don't
it
know
at
shit.
all.
I don't know
Oh,
shit of what happened.
I, I turned it off and I was following the Twitter updates of it because really Twitter was updating it correctly that it was a giant dumpster fire,
Yeah.
aka the Lions.
Yeah, so we'll talk about these games for this week. We're also going to talk playoff predictions. It might be considered maybe too soon, but I think it's a good time as any since the great teams that are great are really great, historically great, and those that are bad, like the Lions or Houston, well, the AFC South, let's be real, historically bad. But yeah, we'll talk those and then do the picks. So, Bill, let's get started with Thursday Night Football, where the Dolphins couldn't do anything. I'm amazed they got a touchdown. I would say that was garbage time at that point. Patriots just punished them, and Cameron Wake. Oh, let's also make this clear. This week was very bad for great players. So many are gone for the year, and this was the sign. Cameron Wake's out for the year now, and the Patriots easily have a comfy win over the Dolphins, 36-7. Bill, what
Yep.
do you take away from this game?
I take away from this game is that the New England Patriots are a better team than the team that won the Super Bowl last year.
They have so many weapons now. You can't cover Gronk forever, and he just blew a coverage. The coverage, I think, wasn't a blown coverage, but he made it look like that.
Yeah, I mean, here's the issue, and the issue is that the Patriots are developing a two-headed running monster in LeGarrette Blount and Dion Lewis, and they have tons of receiving options. Who are you going to cover? Oh my God. If I was a defensive coordinator planning against the Patriots, I would be losing sleep and having my hair going gray. I mean, it is that bad. They are so talented on offense.
It's almost illegal that they have
It
too many weapons.
it is almost illegal. I mean, seriously, they they are legitimate. This is a scary team. They're on pace. They're scoring about as many points as they did when they went 16-0.
I don't know if they will go 16-0 this year. I'd love it. I'd love to see a perfect run done again. That would be the second time, right? The first team that's only done that is the Miami Dolphins when they had Dan Marino, right?
Right.
And ironic that
No,
they...
no.
Oh, what?
The 70 Dolphins, the 1972 Dolphins were the only perfect team, including winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but
They
who were they? Who was their quarterback?
Oh man, I don't remember his name. It wasn't that was about 10 years before Marino even started playing for the Dolphins.
Oh, so this was...
It was the 72 Dolphins coached by Don Shula. I know their running back was Mercury Morris, but I think this team is the best team since the 2007 Patriots. And I think they have one big test. And their biggest test is in a few weeks
Denver.
against the Denver Broncos.
At
and
Denver.
That defense is legit. If they can stop the Patriots, there you go. That's the marquee matchup right there.
I think that will determine who gets the first seed. It
Very
will.
possible.
But remember what the Patriots do. They always take away one thing you do best. And if you do many
Yep.
things
And
best, it could be they'll take the one they think is the most crucial. So what will they do? I think they will definitely take away some of the defense, but I don't know how. But we'll see. But you're gonna get with so many talent on defense with one of the better defensive coordinators. I don't know why Houston got rid of him. I thought he was good.
oh
Um,
man,
no,
just
I wonder. I wonder how oh, here's the other thing. This is going to be when it gets cold. This will probably be in what, December when this happens?
when what?
The Patriots Broncos game. I will
It's gonna be.
I'll
I
check.
think it's gonna be early December
Oh, it's
or
going to be
late
cold.
Late
That's
November or early December.
You know what that means, right? Peyton's biggest weakness. Cold weather.
Yeah. I mean, we are sort of having a weird fall
Yeah.
around the country. It's sort of a lot warmer around the country this year comparatively to the last few years.
Yes.
So you never know. It might be actually warm, but here's the thing. It
Oh,
really doesn't matter.
I think it'll be interesting. Oh, it'll be November 29th, just before December. So, we'll see. But I'm excited for that one. That'll be the better Sunday night game. Probably the best because everyone's like, "Oh, Denver and Green Bay the best." But I love that, Bill. I know you got that pick wrong, but you should have been happy at the result.
Oh yeah.
Because
Yeah.
enough of Aaron Rodgers being the greatest of all time. I out predicted the NFL media again. They feel so proud.
Oh man.
So yeah, all right. So staying on the game. So Dion Lewis did great. Julian Edelman got 2 touchdowns. I bet those fantasy owners were like, "Oh, he's not doing anything." But the second half lights it up. 2 touchdowns that pretty much just nail the coffin on the Dolphins. And I think the Dolphins, I don't know if they'll make the playoffs like the Bills. Isn't it crazy? Everyone's like, "Oh, the Dolphins and the Bills will make the playoffs." Maybe the Jets, but now it's likely the Jets can make it in
I
over
mean,
these two.
it's they're fighting for a wild card spot. That's really what it is.
All
The
3 of them
Patriots,
are.
yeah, all 3 of them are. They're literally fighting for a freaking wild card spot because the Patriots, they're the Patriots, and every time you count them out, they come back and they just snap the back of the rest of the division. They're like, "Oh, you think you're so good, Dolphins? Here, have this," and then just cracking the Dolphin right across the knee. It's just like snapping the Dolphin in half. I mean, that's what the Patriots do. They take the predictions of the pundits and they're like, "Oh, you say that we're going to be second or third in our division? That the Dolphins, just because they have Ndamukong Suh, are going to be this great team? Where are the Dolphins now? They're
3 and
nowhere.
4. They honestly, they should have fired their head coach at the beginning of the beginning of the off season.
I mean, to be fair, the Dolphins are going to always be a mediocre team, while the Patriots are the Patriots.
Mm. But hey, at the very least, they might have been 4 and 3, and I would have said then, they didn't lose enough to say they're not like the Saints are right now, where suddenly the Saints have just got this huge momentum shift. But it might be too little, too late. You get what I mean?
Right.
You lost too many to get in. You're not in the AFC South where you can be 1 and 6 like the Titans and still mathematically be in it. No, you're in the AFC East, which is one of the best divisions right now.
I mean, the Jaguars are only like a half game out in that division.
They're 1.5, I think. The Texans are a game out.
Yeah.
Because Texans are on bye this week, and if the Colts lose this week to the Broncos, which you'll find out our predictions with the picks, the Texans will have the lead. They'll have a half-game lead. So that'll be interesting. This week matters for the Colts. But yes, the Patriots, it's almost illegal. The only thing I still find a bit worrying is their front seven, but when I see some of their some of their defensive ends, and then Dante Hightower playing at good levels. Dante Hightower playing at a Pro Bowl level again. Just, I shouldn't be too worried because Malcolm Butler is already playing better and better and better now.
Yep.
He'll be, if he keeps going on his pace, he'll definitely grow to be one of the best undrafted free agent secondary players ever. Not of all time. I mean, as in the league right now.
Yeah, I think he's got the potential.
He ain't
I
no
mean,
he ain't no Richard Sherman, but who said you got to be him?
you as long as you're serviceable, you can make a great career for being a serviceable DB. I mean, you don't have to be great. You just gotta know your job,
Do your job.
study your job, and do your job.
That's the
That's
Patriot
all you
way.
need to
Do your job.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Exactly.
I'm going to love to see where the Patriots go, and I can't wait to see that game with the Broncos in a few weeks. So Bill, until that time, let's move on to we're not. I said we weren't talking about the game, but Bill, something happened. I think yesterday. Was it
No,
yesterday or today?
Today, during the media briefing, Jim Caldwell had to start flapping his gums. And I'm not going to go into the game. The game Sunday was a trash heap. It started a mediocre team. But today, Jim Caldwell goes and says that the Detroit media is the most negative place that he's ever coached. Well, I got news for you. The last time the Lions won an NFL title, there, Jim Caldwell. Let's see. Carry the 60 years ago. 60 years ago. We won an NFL title in 1955. It's 60 years. Guess what? We're not going to be happy-go-lucky anymore. It's been 60 years since we've won a NFL title. We have not been in a Super Bowl ever. We have won one playoff game in 50 plus years, and you expect us to just be happy-go-lucky. Oh yeah, we're just it's fun to watch football for 50 plus years and then not get anything. We get one playoff win and go to one NFC title game in 50 years. You think that's fun? Do you think that's fun being a fan of this team? I grew up, I got a bunch of losing teams under Matt Millen, and we had the promise of last year to work upon 11-5. You had an amazing defense, and I don't want to hear it that Sue's gone. That's an excuse. You have Haloti Ngata. He can do the exact same stuff. He's just in the middle of the field plugging up the holes. Jim Caldwell, it is your job to get the team fired up to play. Watching that game in London was an embarrassment. It was an embarrassment to watch. I would rather take bleach and put it in my eyes than watch another Detroit Lion football game. I'm boycotting the Detroit Lions. I'm not watching any of their games, and I'm not after this week. Besides Jim Caldwell Fire Watch, which I'm gonna do every week until he's fired. I'm not going to talk about the Detroit Lions because they don't exist. They don't exist because the team doesn't exist in a good state. They're a dumpster fire, and I want Jim Caldwell gone because he's the reason why we're a terrible team. So bye-bye. Happy trails there, Jim Caldwell. We want a coach that wants to be here and wants to work with the players, not leave us with Joe Lombardi.
Maybe
God
you can get
almighty.
maybe you can get Harbaugh if he gets fired, which I don't think it will happen, but
I
that would be
mean,
actually good for you guys. You get a better coach. You have
I
both
mean,
Harbaughs in Michigan. Unfair.
anybody would be better at this point than Jim Caldwell. He is a joke of a coach, and it's been a very he he basically said, "Oh, forget about last year. Last year's last year." No, use last year as fuel for this year, like the San Antonio Spurs did to win an NBA title. They used that Game 7 loss to the Miami Heat, and it fueled their fire to win a championship.
And they
We
did it.
for- and we forget about our loss in the playoffs and how we got screwed. And here we are, we're sitting at 1-7, and we're another joke, miserable football team.
I love how
I'm
you
ready.
use the Spurs, Bill.
I am
You know what to say to me.
I am wiping my hands of the Lions. This will be the last time I talk about them in any shape, way, or form. I'm only going to give news updates of Firewatch of Caldwell, and that has been my rant. Never again will I talk about the Lions. Go screw off.
All right, Bill. Well, before we move on to another team that hasn't won a Super Bowl, granted they're the youngest team. I will be right back. So there are four teams that haven't been to a Super Bowl appearance at all. Those four teams are the Lions, the Browns, of course the Browns, the Jaguars, and this team, the Texans. Who did they play? They played who is the worst team in the NFL right now, Bowl. The Texans hosted the Titans, and how did it go? Mettenberger was the quarterback, and Houston set a franchise record of amount of sacks in a game. 7 sacks. And I will be right back again, because I keep getting interrupted. Okay, hopefully I won't be bothered. So, yes, they set a franchise high, and guess who is the victim? Zach Mettenberger. And Zach Mettenberger, I think, is now a coach killer. Because after the game, Kent Wisenhunt has been fired. I did not expect that. I thought it'd be more likely that the Lions would have got their head coach fired, but I know you're hoping for that, Bill. But let's stick to this game now. The Texans won. I still say it's an ugly game of 20-6
Yeah.
against the Titans, as they should rightfully be called.
Yeah.
Really, it could have been more. There could have been 2 more touchdowns because Kevin Johnson, the first round pick for Houston, intercepted the ball and got them within the red zone. And what do they do? Go 3 and out and have to settle for a field goal. It could have very well have been 23 or 24-6.
Yep.
They
mean,
need a good run game, and they will miss Foster. And the worst part is, they better not blame him for getting hurt, because it was their fault for keeping him in the game, against the Dolphins when it was clearly over.
it was clearly done. That game was over
I
with.
would re-sign Foster just because he does not deserve to be cut. It was not his time. Not his fault. But yes, let's focus on this game. Brian Hoyer got another touchdown to DeAndre Hopkins, who's still DeAndre Hopkins and showing to be one of the better wide receivers in the league. I don't think he'll get Offensive Player of the Year because that's probably going to go to some overrated player like Odell Beckham.
I mean, to be, I'm if it's an NFC award, I mean,
No, I'm talking
they
the
might.
MVP awards. They don't care about that. It's anybody.
Yeah, I I think that's gonna be Tom Brady. At the
No,
level
he's getting over.
playing.
He's going to get the MVP award only, the main one.
Yeah.
He's going to get that over Aaron Rodgers, and I can't wait. So yeah, their Texans are 3-5. They are only a game away. They are tied with the Colts. The Colts have a game advantage, but like I said earlier, if the Colts lose this week to the Broncos, they will fall. And Texans, who are the 11th seed right now, that is very low. They're
Yep.
they're on the midway point in the hunt for the AFC spot, for AFC spot in the playoffs. They could jump to the 4th seed if the Colts lose.
Yep. And it's I'm just putting it this way. It's very possible that the Colts are losing next week. And
I say
then
very, very likely.
And then what happens with Chuck Pagano? 3-6 team. A team that's expected to go to the Super Bowl. Will the Colts fire Pagano after a loss
You
to
know
the
why they won't go to
Broncos?
the Super Bowl? Because they spend their first round picks drafting wide receivers. You're
And
you're loaded on offense. Get a defensive player, which I'm not complaining about, because that way, Houston will always have a way to stop them.
the Colts have always been a team of getting offense and no defense. And it's been that way since Peyton Manning was in his prime, and it's the reason why they've only won one Super Bowl with Manning. And I mean, seriously, if they were serious about building with Andrew Luck, they would build a great defense around Andrew Luck. Because Andrew Luck can make any wide receiver good. It's their defense being on the field is killing them. And then Luck has to try to bring his teams back.
He did against the Panthers, but Luke Kuechly intercepted a ball. Honestly, he should have picked them off in the end zone at the end of the fourth quarter, and it should have been the end. But he didn't get his hands in the right position.
Right.
Otherwise, it would have been 20-17 final for them. But at least Kuechly got the pick he should have gotten, kind of. But yeah, I mean, I will say, if the Colts the only reason the Colts won against Houston was because it was a primetime game. It was a night game. I've been saying the Colts play much better when it's nighttime than it is in the day. They don't like the daylight. They don't like the sun. But what? No, continue.
But a thing with Houston though that I really applauded is that their defense came to play after they were embarrassed for 2 straight
You know
games.
why? I'm going to say this. That defense looked like the defense from last year. But you know why they'd look like that? Because the offense was out in the field long enough. They were getting first downs, letting the defense rest, and giving the offense pressure. Granted, it was the Titans. Let's be fair. That it was the Titans, the least talented team in the NFL. I actually had a Titans fan get mad at me for telling. I was tweeting to a YouTuber who does sports games like Madden and MLB The Show, and I was saying the Titans are the worst team in the league, and he's like, "No, they're not." And I checked his profile. Titans rise up. He likes the Titans, and I'm like, he stopped tweeting me when I told him the Titans are the least talented team in the NFL. He tried so hard defending them. He said we'd be better if you had Mariota, and we kept our games close. But you lost to the Browns. You got stuffed, and Mariota just kept getting beat up. That line does not protect him, and that's why he's hurt. If it wasn't the Dolphins game that injured him, it would have been this one, because
Yep.
that would have been him getting sacked 7 times by J.J. Watt and Whitney Merciless. And Whitney Merciless might have gotten the starting job over Clowney, because Clowney got hurt a little bit again. They got a bye week, so he should be coming. He should come back. It doesn't look like it was anything serious, or else they would have been, media all talking all about it. But
Yep.
Clowney needs He needs more time in the games, so thankfully they got a bye week. But what are you gonna say, Bill?
Overall, though, the best defense is a good offense, and Brian Hoyer did his job for once, and converted some third downs, which Houston hasn't been doing really well, and kept the ball moving for the game, and didn't really give Tennessee a chance to even mount any sort of offensive attack, and that is the best thing.
Yes, but Bill, there is one thing I was going to say that I remember I tweeted about this.
Okay.
One of the commentators for CBS said Hoyer is the guy for the Texans going into the future, and I'm like, no,
No.
he is clearly not. I know Bill O'Brien's gonna like him so much, but I will repeat this again when we talk about the playoff predictions. But if Houston goes into the playoffs, Bill O'Brien's going to feel like he's very much right that Hoyer is the guy going into the future because he's biased to him a lot.
You can't go 7-9 with him at starting quarterback and think he's going to be the future, because then you're going to be at best an 8-8 team.
I don't even think he'll be 8-8 because next year's schedule is going to get rougher because you got to play the AFC West, which while the Broncos once Peyton's gone, I don't know where they'll be. I'm not going to say they'll suck. They could be better. They could be worse. I don't know. So I'll slap them a question mark.
I think they'll be worse with Brock Osweiler at quarterback.
Yeah, maybe, but we'll see. They could have a Aaron Rodgers effect where because he was under a great quarterback, he got better, but who knows. The Chiefs, when they have Jamal Charles, they are a much better team. The Chargers, Phillip Rivers is carrying, but it just doesn't produce results. This is where you can counteract, quarterbacks win games, because Phillip Rivers playing out of his mind, and he still can't win. Because the line won't protect him, and the defense sucks. Just like Titans, but, well, the Chargers would destroy the Titans any day of the week. And the Raiders, who are on the rise. I love that they're on the rise.
The Raiders are on the rise, and I think this year is their time to be on the rise.
I love it.
I really believe that this year they could be a 10-6 team.
I think they'll be 9-7, but they could very well. They could make a statement this week. They made a statement this week already, beating the Jets, one team who is considered to go to the playoffs too, as a wild card. But they beat the other team that could get into the wild card because they lost to the Bengals this week. But we'll talk about that later. So yeah, Houston, very likely they can steal it from the Colts if they win enough games, and they split with the Colts. If they split with the Colts, they will probably go in. But remember, they still have yet to play the Jets, who I think they might lose to if Fitzpatrick is starting. Oh, that would be great for him, revenge. The Bills, which if E.J. Manuel starts, they can beat him, even in Orchard Park. But if it's Tyrod Taylor, rip. And the Patriots, they have yet to play those three teams who the Colts have already played. They played the Jets and lost. They played the Bills and lost. They played the Patriots and lost. They just have yet to play the Dolphins. And they're going to lose to the Dolphins. Dominican Sue is going to knock out them, which, yeah. I'm surprised we didn't mention the fact that the Colts are in trouble now for not putting Andrew Luck on the injury report. So they might lose draft picks, they might get fined, or some people might get suspended. I hope they lose draft picks, though.
Isn't it kind of ironic? The team that was complaining about cheating and deflated footballs then goes and cheats and doesn't put Andrew Luck's name on the injury report.
Yeah, they should.
What?
Of course, the media won't talk about it because it's not the Patriots.
Yep.
The Packers could have literally been spying on their opponents in the most obvious way, and nobody will say a peep, because Aaron Rodgers is the greatest of all time. No, he's not. Brady is. Especially if he wins one more Super Bowl. But yes. Anyway, let's move on to the other Texas team. This one's this was ugly. This game was even uglier than the Texans one. Seattle, the NFC champion, went down to Dallas and barely won 13-12. But I will say, same case like with the Texans. I told you, Bill, this defense got better with Greg Hardy. He intercepted the ball from Russell Wilson and put the Cowboys in the red zone. What do? Kick a field goal. They go 3 and out. It was almost similar to the Texans game, but the difference was the Seattle Seahawks kept it closer.
And they also had Dez Bryant back as well. Matt Castle did.
Sherman just kept him in line. But I will say, if Romo were there, I think Dez would have played and got like 3 more catches for 50 yards total.
Right.
So then we'd be saying Dez won the battle. But because Matt Castle was quarterback, everyone's saying Richard Sherman won. But they could not ask for Romo back anytime soon, which he'll come in a couple weeks, but that's against the Dolphins. And I saw how even when they played the Patriots, they were trying to get cheap and ugly shots on Brady, hoping to injure him, because that's their way. That line is to to knock out players. It's not to sack them. It's to knock them out of the game.
I mean,
They're like the Dolphins are basically like what's his name? The Mike Tyson. They're like the Mike Tyson of defensive lines. They knock you out. They don't just punch you. They knock you out.
yeah, I mean, I call it the Ndamukong Suh effect.
Mm. You have two Ndamukong Suh effects. That one and the one where they just go to mediocrity.
Yep.
I think that's
I
what the other
mean,
one was. But continue.
the Sue effect though is the team plays undisciplined on defense and they constantly get penalties, and that's what you sort of see in that. But I mean, getting back to Dallas and Seattle, I mean, overall, I didn't really watch much of the game, but from what I saw, it was brutal
It
to
felt
watch.
like two top 10 defenses were playing against each other, but no. It's just it's just the offense for Seattle is bad. It's just that they got a touchdown in. And if Dallas, they had two chances to get in the end zone. If those were touchdowns, they would have been 8 points above them, and it would have suddenly have been 20 to 13 Dallas if they got both of those touchdowns in. But they didn't. That's what fucked them
Right.
over. Because they couldn't convert those touchdowns, they lost.
Yep. I
Darren
mean,
McFadden, for a good defense, a good defensive front, torched them too. In fact, he got a big play, but it got taken back because of a flag again. That's just unfortunate.
yep. I mean, overall, that game was pretty ugly. I mean, the referees were pretty bad. It was just an ugly game.
That was
the
another bad
entire
call too, with that one that pulled back that run. That was a bad call. It's horrible.
Yeah, I mean the refs were bad. The game was ugly. It was just one of those games that you go, that occurred.
Yeah.
That happened.
All
I
right,
hope
Bill.
that doesn't happen anymore.
Oh yeah, I don't have much to say, but other than the fact that Romo can't come back any sooner. But here are their next two games. The Eagles, who sure they got a bye, but as long as Sam Bradford is in, as long as Sam Bradford is quarterback, any team can beat the Eagles. I'm gonna be honest. As long as he's the quarterback, he is a pick machine. Even a bad secondary like Dallas can exploit this.
Yes.
So, and with Greg Hardy, oh, most certainly they're going to do it. But unless Mark Sanchez comes in the game, I think they can lose. And then after that, the Buccaneers, which depending on if the Buccaneers beat the Giants, I'm going to say they can easily stomp on them. So they can at least squeeze out 2 wins. I think they'll get 1 win from the Bucks before Romo comes back. They just win one of these 2 games, they're still in the race.
Really, with the Buccaneers, it really depends which Buccaneer team comes to play. The bad Buccaneer teams from the last few years, or the semi-decent one that showed flashes this year.
Yeah, you get the bad one that played like the Texans, or you get the good ones that competed with Washington and then beat Atlanta at Atlanta.
Yep,
So
exactly.
that's showing it. Really, Winston just needs to start strong, like Kirk Cousins. Him and Kirk Cousins are kind of similar. They need to start strong to keep it going. They need like you got to push them. You got to put them on a momentum type of style thing, or else they're not going to do anything.
Jameis needs to get into a rhythm offensively, and him starting the game
Isn't it
throwing the ball at least once or twice.
before we move on to the play or other games to talk about? Isn't it crazy when the Titans just demolished the Buccaneers? It's like, oh, Mariota's instantly the better one. He's going to be the best quarterback. Like he's going to have an RG3 type season. Now he hasn't won any of the games he's in, and now he's out for a couple of weeks. And the Buccaneers have a better record than them now, 3-4, upsetting a likely playoff team in the Falcons.
Right. I'll put it this way. I still think Mariota's the better quarterback.
Yeah, but who's going to have the better first year? I think it's going to be the Winston by default because unless he misses games too. But
I mean,
because Mariota is missing those crucial
yeah,
games that they need him for.
Jameis is going to have a better rookie season, but I feel
I think they're both going to do great, and it feels like not. I think I told you this once. they're gonna have a Brady Manning type of thing where they'll play each other every few years. Does that make
I could see it. I could see it.
because
I
they're in
mean,
two different conferences, so they'll only play once every 4 years unless they both go to the Super Bowl, which
I mean,
those Titans
if
aren't
I
going anywhere.
if I'm grading on talent, I'm gonna give Jameis Winston an 80 to 85, and then if I'm going with Mariota, I'm going 90 95.
I give him a better mobile quarterback, but like I said, I think Winston's a better thrower right now. But again, it also falls on the talent among them, and the Bucks have at least Mike Evans. What do the Titans have? Green Beckham? Green Beckham? He's not doing that well either for his first year.
Green Beckham, who didn't fit the offensive scheme anyway.
Exactly. So I think he's going to be a bust unless he shapes up. But
Well, now that Ken Wisenhunt's gone, maybe they'll run a scheme that's actually conducive for him to be successful.
yes. But all right, Bill. So on that note, other games. Yes, the Bucks upset the Falcons. The Falcons almost pulled off a Washington football teams type of thing comeback, but they blew it because the Bucks scored first.
Yep.
So,
And
oh boy, that was what?
that game was a real head scratcher.
That put all the Atlanta fans on edge. It's like all of all the momentum that they had at the beginning, it just flipped itself now.
Yep, they're 0-2 in their last two, and you
No,
know,
no, no, they're 2-1. Remember, they beat the Titans barely by a field goal. But yes, it's just scary. So next, Bill, I want to say two teams. Oh, what? What are you gonna say?
No, go ahead.
Two teams, just one player they drafted this season has made them into a possible playoff contender, which we're not going to be done with these guys. Todd Gurley has made the Rams competitive. Nick Foles is not throwing that much, but he doesn't need to. He just needs to get those crucial throws like to Tavon Austin, and they can beat they can almost beat anybody.
The Rams have a great defense, and remember, at the very beginning of the year, I put them in my top 7.
Oh, your prediction's coming true. That's scary.
I mean, they are a legit defense. They have a
They've
great
always had a
young-
legit defense. Let's be honest. They've had one
Yeah.
for years, but it's just that the offense didn't do anything, so they could not, carry.
They have a quarterback that can throw down the field.
Hey, they have a
and
better
balls.
one as a backup that they're just not aware of yet in Case Keenum.
Exactly. And they have a great running back in Todd Gurley, and they have decent backups in Benny Cunningham. They're right where they need to be. They're right there.
They are they play a game, the most crucial game in their season in my opinion, because they've already split. They at the very least split with the Cardinals and the Seahawks, and that's okay. But if they beat the Vikings this week, all of a sudden, if those two teams tie in divisional records, the Rams will get in because they have the advantage. They beat them this year because they play this week. So this next game with the Vikings is their most important game. I hope that their coach Fisher makes it clear to them they need to win this game. This game is very treated like a divisional game, basically.
Yeah, it's a must-win game in the regular season. Every game, you can treat every game like it, but this one
There are
should
just those games that have to be highlighted in a more important color, if that makes sense. Like, this game matters, guys. This one matters more. And the other team who drafted a wide receiver, Amari Cooper, I'm saying he's better than Beckham already because he's making plays, he's carrying, and even when he went up against Darrelle Revis admitted this guy's going to be something special.
Yep.
So, and he didn't even need to go to Cooper, Derek Carr. Derek Carr is shaping up. Everyone's like, oh, Blake Bortles going to be better. Derek Carr sucks, or Teddy Bridgewater is great. And he's playing so inconsistent now. He could have lost to the Bears.
Derek Carr is going to be I think, a top 5 quarterback in about 5 years.
I can't wait. I've been saying this kid is something special, and now he's got weapons. Michael Crabtree is showing to be one of the better bargain free agents.
Yep. I mean,
The 49ers miss him. They dearly miss him.
the 49ers miss everyone that retired.
That retired or they let go. They did not want to re-sign. You guys have no talent now.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to look at another team devoid of talent, they just got rid of their last person with talent, and that was Vernon Davis in a trade.
Well, he deserves better, to be honest.
Yeah,
He deserves a shot at the Super Bowl. So, yeah. So
now,
he's fine.
Now he's playing on a legit Super Bowl contender, at least this year with Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
You know?
And at least Brock Osweiler, if he comes in, he has no excuse to suck because he has the talent. He has Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders and now Vernon Davis, so they have to have no excuse anymore next year. But anyway, yeah, they're only a little more talented than the Titans because they have a they benched him for a worser quarterback, in my opinion. Well, Blaine Gabbert. Don't you know him, Bill? Don't you know that guy? Can you tell me?
Blaine Gabbert was the former Jacksonville Jaguars starting quarterback before Blake Bortles, who was a gigantic bust. Gigantic bust.
Unless he's the next Carson Palmer, I don't see what he's gonna do. But yes, they are just ugh. If it's them, the Titans, and the Lions and the Ravens for the worst teams in football right now, and that's sad for the Ravens especially. Two Super Bowl teams from a few years ago now on the bottom, second to last in their in their conferences of being worst. Ugh.
Oh,
but yes, back to the Raiders. Their offense is for real, and their defense has always been for real. I mean, everyone's saying call for the GM's head. He got Khalil Mack and now Amari Cooper. I don't think he should be fired now for this.
Nope. This is the best up-and-coming rising team in the NFL. If you get rid of that GM, I want him immediately in Detroit.
I want him immediately in Houston.
I want him immediately in Detroit. That way we can immediately fire that joke of a coach. But again, let's not go back to that.
Jack Del Rio, I'm liking where he's going.
Exactly. Jack Del Rio.
We didn't think he'd do that great. But damn, I'm happy for them. I can't help but smile when I see them rise and beat the Jets. And one more team to mention, Bill. The game I picked that nobody else did. Very few. Especially in the NFL media. Like, I looked at all the game picks for like every type for the shows that for people in the shows on the NFL Network. Yep. Only one other person picked Denver. Me and that one guy just outpredicted a lot of America and a lot of the NFL media. Yep. Denver's defense is for real. It's been for real for a couple of years, but it's even better with Wade Phillips. We miss you. We miss you, Wade. Houston misses you. And that's Aaron Rodgers' kryptonite. You put him against a strong defense. Like the Rams contained him a bit, but it just wasn't enough. Had that game not been at Lambeau, I think the Rams would have beat him because the Rams are ugly to play at home. You don't want to play them at home.
Yep.
But
I mean,
the Broncos just showed up, and Peyton showed up. Peyton Manning showed up to play. Plus, like I say, sometimes teams are better in prime time. Like the Colts. I think the same as you can be said with the Broncos.
And the other thing is that Peyton Manning had a lot of motivation. Again, here's that buzzword, motivation, because all he kept hearing the entire week leading up to that game, oh, Aaron Rodgers is going to wipe the floor with Peyton Manning, etc., etc. And look at what happened. Look at what happened. Aaron Rodgers had 40 yards of passing.
Yeah, for 77 yards. No touchdowns. The only touchdown they got was because of Eddie Lacy, and I wouldn't even say he's back. I think he'll come to form. So to those people who still want to trade Eddie Lacy off in fantasy, get him. Get him. Get him, and then shame those people who let him go, because those guys are fucking idiots. Eddie Lacy's also getting motivation, and sooner or later he's going to torch some unfortunate team, which I think might be the Lions next week. Just run for 150 yards and just mock. And everyone who got him in their fantasy are going to cry, and I'm going to love it. I'm not even a fan of him, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying he got motivation too, because he did run in for a touchdown, got a good amount of plays, but Bill,
Yep.
I'm glad Denver shut up the Green Bay Packers fans, and more importantly, everyone who thinks Aaron Rodgers is the greatest of all time. It put a smile on my face. What happened to my greatest of all time quarterback? Especially the cheeseheads. Every cheesehead were just shocked. Like their hands were on their face or on the top of their head, confused as to what happened in that game. I bet that put a smile on your face too, a bigger one.
It was it was so satisfying. It was very satisfying.
All right, Bill.
See,
Oh no, continue.
I wanted the Broncos to win. I just picked with my gut. I thought Aaron Rodgers might do something.
So I got basically two upsets right. My Raiders pick to beat the Jets, and the Broncos to beat the Packers. Plus, it's in Mile High. Did everyone forget that? If this were Lambeau, I might have picked Green Bay.
I'm pretty sure I picked Green Bay though.
You did.
Yeah.
Like but oh boy, I'm so glad I got those two. But anyway, let's talk playoffs. Let's start AFC, Bill. Like I said, the Raiders have already made somewhat of a statement by beating the Jets. And if it comes down to those two teams to take the last wild card spot, because their other real contender is the Steelers. Because the Steelers lost to the Bengals. And without Le'Veon Bell now, I swear, the Steelers should never play Le'Veon Bell against the Bengals, because that seems to injure him all the time for the rest of the year.
Yeah, the Bengals are going to win that division.
They've pretty much clinched it. If they beat the Browns, now here's their true test, because this is a primetime game, and the Bengals suck at night. Like how the Colts are great at night, the Bengals suck when the sun is gone. I guess Andy Dalton must be solar powered or something. This must be what the red hair stands for. Andy Dalton is solar powered, so without the sun, he's gone. So we'll see. I think that they won't make that mistake again. Not against the Browns. Not this time. So, what?
The Bengals are a legit team.
They are. But honestly, their best test is against the Broncos later in the year.
Yep.
That's their big test, and that honestly will decide the first or second seed. Because it's a three-way race between the Patriots, Broncos, and the Bengals. Now, the Bengals don't play the Patriots this year. The Broncos play both. They beat them both. They got the first spot. But they have to beat at least one to get the first or second spot. But, yeah. So, no. What are you going to say?
I said I'm going to say I highly doubt that the Broncos are going to beat both.
They'll beat one. I think they'll beat the Bengals. Because guess what? It's also a prime time. It's a Monday Night Football game. And the Bengals are going to stink. Because they're going to Mile High, too. So yeah, they're going to. I wouldn't say they're going to a buzzsaw, but it's not going to be easy. Because mind you, the Bengals' defense is good. It's not the best, but it's good. It does the job it needs to do.
Right.
So yeah. So Bill, in terms of first and second and third seeds, how would you rank these three teams?
I definitely have the Patriots number one. I have the Cincinnati Bengals number two, and then the Denver Broncos will be the third seed.
Ooh, that's actually a good one. I think I might agree, but I can very much switch the Broncos and the Bengals. But to me, it comes down to that game when they play each other. That one is what matters.
Yep.
So yes, the fourth seed now. Let's talk the fourth seed, Bill. It's the Colts, the Texans, the Jaguars, and yes, the Titans are mathematically in it. They're 2 games away.
I mean, and the crazy thing is that they could be comically underneath 500, all these teams, and make the playoffs.
I expect 6-10, Bill. I'll be honest. The Colts might lose every game except for their division games.
I mean, it's very possible because the Colts are not a good team. The Jaguars, have a good running game, and they're decent in all areas. They're not great in any one area. The
Titans
Houston
or Titans with Mariota at least keep up with the Colts a bit, but at least the fact that they have no talent is what kills them. But say
and
what you want about the Texans.
and the Texans have a decent defense, but they have Brian Hoyer at quarterback.
And they have no Foster. Remember,
And no Arian Foster or running.
Remember, last year, if Fitzpatrick stayed in that game, it looked like the Texans were going to pull off a miracle and beat the Colts for the first time in Lucas Oil Stadium. They've never done that in their history. Even
Right.
the years when Peyton was gone. Remember that one season where he was out for the year and then they cut him?
Yep.
Even that year, they
Yep.
couldn't do it. So yeah, but really, if the Colts had Matt Castle, maybe they would have won against the Panthers. No, I'm just kidding. I think Castle would have got the what little football life he had left in him out.
So the number 4 seed, which is that division's winner, I this is a crapshoot. I mean, literally any team could come out.
Yeah, but just if you're still unsure about one, because we're gonna talk about this at the end of the year. Don't forget that. So you can pick two.
I'm going to go Colts, but I'm really uneasy with that.
Who's the one you could see stealing it from them then? It's obvious, but go ahead and say it for clarity's sake.
Both Houston and Jacksonville.
What? You've got two?
I legit think that Jacksonville could get hot and they could start running the football down the throats of all 3 teams in that division.
To me, they have to beat the Jets. They haven't played them this year. I don't think they have. That game is also crucial to me because they beat the Dolphins and they beat the Bills. If they beat the Jets, that'll be good for them because they beat the Dolphins when what's his name? I forgot his name already. That guy, Tomlin? No, that's Steelers. So yeah.
Philbin?
I think yeah. When he was there, I think anybody could have beat him. Even the Lions and the Titans, I think they could have beat it because that team was just, why are we even here? That's what they were like. But all right, so yeah, I have the same, but I'm picking the Colts because what did I say about Texans? I don't want them in the playoffs because if they do, Bill O'Brien's going to get so obsessed. It's like, I was right, guys. See, with Hoyer, we have our franchise quarterback. No. Don't get in the playoffs, Texans. I've already buried you guys. I buried you. You're so close to the Lions, you could be roommates. And I want you guys to draft a quarterback. Now, I told Bill about this earlier before we had it, but there is the Michigan State quarterback. What's his name again, Bill? Yeah, he might be good. He's a big guy like Roethlisberger, or I want Jared Goff, but I'll take anybody as long as they are first-round potential and they have the skills Houston could use. So yes,
Yep.
I have the Colts taking it, but Houston can take it, but I'm hoping it doesn't happen.
Because then they drop 10 spots
Houston's
in
gonna
the
get.
draft.
Houston to me has like another game. 2 games I think they can guarantee a loss to. The Patriots, they haven't played them, and the Bills or the Jets, depending on if their starting quarterbacks are playing, Fitzpatrick or Tyrod Taylor.
Right.
Those two will guarantee. I can almost guarantee they'll beat Houston. But yes, so the 2 wild card teams, Bill, because I mentioned the Raiders have an edge over the Jets, but if the Raiders play Pittsburgh this week, and Pittsburgh don't have Le'Veon Bell, and Charles Woodson for a 39-year-old man playing phenomenal.
Yep.
So, Bill, who do you got? It's these 3 teams. You could argue the Bills, and maybe the Dolphins, but I think the Dolphins lost too much.
I've got the Oakland Raiders. They're just really, really talented.
5th or 6th spot?
5th.
Okay.
And then 6th spot, I'm going to go. I still have faith that the Jets can hold off the Steelers.
Ooh.
The Steelers have no defense. Their defense is not good.
To me,
And
I
the
think
Jets
it comes down to the loss of Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah,
I think if
and
Bell were in that game, they might have taken it from the Bengals.
possible.
It was possible. I mean, D'Angelo Williams is great, but he's not a 3-down running back. He's too old, but yeah. So, You have it shaped up like this: Patriots, Bengals, uh, uh,
Patriots, Bengals,
Broncos,
Broncos,
Colts, or Texans.
Colts, Texans, or Jaguars. One of those three. Raiders, Jets.
All right, I have almost the same. I have Patriots, Broncos, Bengals. Though those two could be switched. Colts, and hopefully not the Texans. I have the Jets with the fifth. No, I actually have the Jets at the sixth seed, and I have Pittsburgh at the fifth. But the Raiders could steal it if the Raiders win this game. To me, this game also matters. Like the Rams Vikings this week, Raiders Steelers matters. If the Raiders win, they have an edge over both of these two teams, and this game could fuck them both over. So
Yep.
I'm gonna give it to Pittsburgh because with Roethlisberger quarterback, Antonio Brown plays lights out, and I can't think of any. I can only think of Richard Sherman that can maybe stop that.
Right.
That wide receiver QB duo. But like I said, no Le'Veon Bell. It's just very hard to get in now. So let's go NFC. All right,
Oh,
Bill.
man.
Who do you have? The only team that's undefeated here is the Panthers now. There were
Okay.
3, but
My-
now there's 1.
My top seed, as much as I hate saying it, is going to be the Green Bay Packers.
You know they play the Panthers soon, right? And if they lose that game, actually it's this week, Bill. We have another game that could determine it. The Panthers host Green Bay. If
I'm not. I'm still keeping the Panthers at 12-4, and I still think the Packers will be 13-3, and I think that the Panthers will beat the Packers this week.
Bill,
I-
I'm sorry, Bill. I'm sorry to interrupt, but there are so many games that matter this week that could determine the playoffs. You have Dolphins, Bills, kind of. You have Raiders, Steelers, that matters. You have Rams, Vikings, Packers, Panthers, Broncos, Colts, and Eagles, Cowboys. Those games will determine who can get in or out. That's disgusting. That's crazy. Those schedule makers planned for this shit. I'm calling conspiracy. I'm calling Illuminati shit right here. But I'm sorry. Continue. My mind's just being blown right now.
My number 1 is the Packers. My number 2 is the Panthers. All right. And I still see the Cardinals being a 3 seed. That is what I think is going to happen. Now, the fun thing is what's going to happen in the 4 seed. Because there's 2 teams I think can vie for that 4 seed. The Giants or Eagles.
Ooh, interesting.
I think I'm still leaning Eagles in the 4 spot.
Are you saying that because Sanchez will take the job one day, or I'm assuming
I'm-
Bradford sticks the whole way through, unless he gets hurt.
I don't count anything with Bradford at quarterback. I always kind of keep it in my head that Sanchez at some point is going to be out there.
I think so too, but it's when they're bombing. I'm talking after they lose to the Lions and Cardinals and Patriots. Ha! That's too late
I
though.
don't- If Bradford has games where he's throwing 2 picks again, I mean, I can see him getting pulled.
That'll be interesting. So yeah, you got those 2. All right, now
Uh,
what about your wild card? That's where it matters. You have these options now: Falcons, Vikings, Rams, Seahawks, and the Saints. No Washington football team. Let's be honest. We don't believe in them.
All right. So in my 5 seed, I've got the Atlanta Falcons. Still, they're going to be a decent team. But my number 6 team is going to be the St. Louis Rams.
Oh boy, that's gonna be fun. And
And
Bill,
what a brutal bloodbath of a match, a 3-6 Cardinals-Rams match that could be.
oh, I hope I could see that one. But okay, so that's what you got. All right, my turn. I have for the first seed. You know I'm into them so much. The Cardinals, and then at number 2, the Panthers. I just think the Panthers are going to split with the Saints, and they'll lose a couple other games. But by that point, I think it's just because they played really close with the Colts, and that worries me still. But I've no doubt they'll clinch the division and be the first team to three-peat in the NFC South. But yes, and the third seed will be the Packers because they're gonna. You know what cost them that? The loss to the Panthers and the Cardinals. And then the fourth seed, I've got two teams, either the Giants or the Cowboys. Because if the Cowboys squeeze one more win from either the Eagles or the Bucks, especially if they win both, they are very much in it. Remember, the Giants and the Eagles have yet to play the Dolphins. They have yet to play the Patriots. And those are easy losses. Cowboys already have been through the ringer with the Patriots. These two teams and the Washington football team are the next victims. Those are all losses. So get ready for the slaughter. The buzzsaw calls for the New York Giants and Philadelphia Eagles. But yes, so it's going to come down to those two for me. My fifth spot is Atlanta, maybe. I'm shaky on this one because of how they're playing right now. But yes, Bill, I have the same thing for the sixth seed. Seattle, or not Seattle, St. Louis going back to Lambeau to have another shot at Todd Gurley likely playing phenomenal. Two first-round picks, two top 10 picks. The Amari Cooper on the AFC side and Todd Gurley on the NFC carry their teams to the playoffs.
Damn.
That's what you got for you. Me, I don't think the
Yep.
Raiders will get in unless they beat Pittsburgh. If they do, ooh boy, hype. But yes, so your order. Say it one more time.
It's Green Bay, Carolina, who was Arizona, then a mix between Philadelphia or the New York Giants.
Those fourth seeds, man, they're
The
terrible.
the the fifth seed. Well, who did I pick?
Atlanta.
Shit. Oh yeah, it was Atlanta, and then the sixth seed was St. Louis.
My picks are the Cardinals, the Panthers, the Green Bay Packers, the Cowboys or Giants, Atlanta, and the Rams. That's right. We're predicting Seattle don't get in. The Saints, they just lost too many games that mattered, in my opinion.
Yep.
But they're playing the NFC South or AFC South, so they could steal them all. But yeah, so they're in it. They're still in it because they have an easy schedule. But we'll see. So yes, those are our picks for the playoffs. Next week we'll be talking Pro Bowl because the Texans and the Lions don't have games this week. So Bill, let's start off the picks. Are you ready?
Am I ready? Heck yes!
I came back this week. Got so many needed wins, so I'm close with you, Bill. I'm not 3 games behind, or I'm not 10 games behind anymore. So let's go. Let's start with Thursday.
Thursday night game, the freaking Cleveland Browns at the Cincinnati Bengals.
What did I say? The only way the Browns can win is if they get a Sharpie marker, wipe it on their helmets like the Bengals pattern, and try to blend in the background. But it won't work. Don't matter. The Bengals will win.
This is going to be probably a blowout. I think it's going to be a blowout. The Bengals weren't sharp last week. They'll use that as motivation, and they'll beat the Browns easily.
Ooh. By the way, you want to know what the user consensus for this is? 96-4. The other game that's as low as the only game lower than this is Patriots Washington football team at 97-3. Those 3% people need to be shamed. All right, go on, Bill.
Man. Next up, the Green Bay Packers at the Carolina Panthers.
I have the Panthers stealing this one again. Packers are spiraling for now. Oh man, I love it. This is going to be close, and I think Cam Newton is going to show he's for real. He did it against Seattle and the Clink. He could do it again here against the Packers.
The Panthers' defense is amazing. Aaron Rodgers plays bad against good defenses, and the Carolina Panthers will win.
Ooh, I thought you were going to pick them, or did I persuade you to come to the other side?
No, I was picking the Carolina Panthers. I still think Carolina's gonna go 4-4 in their last 8, and that's why the Packers will get in front of them.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. But
All
all
right.
right, next game.
So next up, the Washington football team at the New England Patriots.
This is gonna be a slaughter. You like that? You like that? That's what Kirk Cousins said, and now Tom Brady's gonna say that. You like that? You like that? When it's 42-6, Patriots.
Easy Patriots win. I don't see how they're gonna keep it close. Sayonara, Washington.
The Washington football team is
Oh man.
gone.
Uh-oh. Here we go. Tennessee Titans at the New Orleans Saints.
This would have been game of the year if the Saints still crumbled, but this also has a low one, 95-5 for prediction scale. The Saints are playing hot, and they're gonna stay hot because they play a crummy division that is the AFC South. I have the Saints winning.
I also have the Saints winning. Drew Brees does not have another 7 touchdown passes. God. Oh man, here we go. A division matchup. The Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills.
This could decide who has a shot at it. Whoever loses this game is gonna get buried and have no shot. This is the who has a shot at the AFC wild card, but the Bills will take it.
I also have the Buffalo Bills defeating the Miami Dolphins because the Dolphins are really wildly inconsistent.
This is gonna be an ugly game, Bill. I think this will be 3-9. A 3-9 game, maybe a 3-10 type of game, like those Baltimore-Pittsburgh games that we love so much. Those bloodbath.
The bloodbath.
Yeah, this is the bloodbath.
Oh man. All right. So next up, the St. Louis Rams at the Minnesota Vikings.
This game determines who gets in as well. I have the Rams stealing it because that defense is for real, and Todd Gurley is going to outpace Adrian Peterson. Move over, AP. The next generation of elite running back has arrived.
Oh man. All right, I've also got the Rams. They are really showing me something, and the Vikings haven't shown me anything yet because they barely, got on track.
They've barely won their games, so this is likely. This is likely to go south for them, and I can't wait.
Next up, the Jacksonville Jaguars at the New York Jets.
I have the Jets taking this as long as Fitzpatrick is playing. I think he is going to play. So I have the Jets just punishing Blake Bortles. I'm talking 4 sacks against them.
I have the Jets winning, but in a close game, 24-20. It's going to be a coming out party for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh God. All right, Bill. Let's go next game.
Next up, the Oakland Raiders at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Ooh, Bill. This game also matters. If Le'Veon Bell were in this game, I would have said Steelers easy, but to me, this is my upset of the week here. The Raiders go make a statement saying they're for real. I have Amari Cooper and Crabtree torching the secondary. And the Raiders steal it in Heinz Field from the Steelers.
The Raiders are a better team than the Steelers. The Raiders will win the game and defeat the Steelers. And they're going to throw the football all over the field on the Steelers.
Next thing you know, Pittsburgh's going to have to start burying the balls. Ha!
They're going to start needing to wear the bags over their heads just like we do.
Here's the last thing. I forgot to mention this about the Rams and the Raiders, but those two teams don't want to go to LA. They want to stay, and that's why they're playing so great. Meanwhile, San Diego is just, yeah, we're going, guys. You at least have the Padres in baseball.
Oh, man.
Next game, Bill.
Next up, the New York Giants at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I want to hear your thoughts on this one first, Bill.
All right. After what I saw on offense from the New York Giants, they looked like they could score points for the first time in a very long time. I think that continues against the Buccaneers, and they defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
You see, Bill, I would think that, but I remember the Saints have a bad defense. The Giants also have a bad defense. And Tampa Bay, if if Winston gets on a hot start, he's going to torch them. Eli has to keep up with another quarterback. I'm calling a shootout again, but the Buccaneers steal it. They take it away, just like last week against the Falcons. I've got the Bucs playing lights out again, knocking off the Giants.
Oh, here's a fun game. The Atlanta Falcons at the San Francisco 49ers.
Well, Blaine Gabbert is just going to put up a white flag to the coach and say, I want out, because the Falcons are just going to punish him. I have the Falcons blowing out the 49ers, and Colin Kaepernick will come back after this game. Just one game. It's all they need. It's like, we need our franchise quarterback back.
I also have the Falcons blowing out the 49ers at least like 49-7.
Ugh, it's horrible, Bill. Disgusting.
The next game is the Denver Broncos at the Indianapolis
Okay,
Colts.
Andrew Luck is definitely going to get out of this game. He is going to get injured, probably, because the Broncos are going to punish him. So I have the Broncos winning in an ugly score of 19-3.
I have the Denver Broncos stomping the Indianapolis Colts 34-13.
Isn't this funny? They're the Broncos, and the Colts are a horseshoe. I guess the Broncos, they needed new pairs of shoes.
Yep.
All right, Bill, let's go to Sunday night. I think we're done with all those late games.
Yep. Next up is the Philadelphia Eagles at the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football.
Bill, I'm going to hear your thoughts on this one, too, first.
It's Matt Castle starting the game.
Against Sam Bradford.
Matt Castle is Matt Castle, and Sam Bradford is Sam Bradford.
They should have switched this one, too. Like, we didn't mention this, but they actually switched the Sunday Night Football game that's later. The one 2 or 3 weeks from now. It was supposed to be Chargers hosting the Chiefs, but because they're both terrible, they switched it to a better one, which I'm glad they did. Bengals at Arizona. And this one, they should have switched it to Packers and Panthers or Rams and Vikings, because those are a lot better games than this one.
Yeah, this game's a joke. I've got the Eagles winning by 1 point against the Cowboys.
I actually have it the other way around, because Darren McFadden is going to torch their front seven, and he's going to get 2 touchdowns. Dez will get 1 more, and I have the Cowboys stealing this one in a closer game than you might think, than the scoreboard would let you on. 20-30.
And then the Monday night game, the Chicago Bears at the San Diego Chargers.
There's no way the Chargers should blow this. I'm calling for an overtime game, though. It's going to be close because these teams suck. Phillip Rivers, though, going to go 400 throwing yards. This is going to be almost a shootout. I'm getting 30-33 final score.
I also got the Chargers. Just going to be ugly. It's going to be an ugly game where there's going to be no defense played. It's going to be like 49-42.
All right, Bill. We have the best Thursday night football game yet. The return of Rex Ryan. What game am I talking about?
It is the Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets.
This should have been on Thursday Night Football for CBS viewers instead of the Washington football team against the Giants. This would have been better because people would want to watch this. But I have the Jets taking this from Buffalo in a close match. I'm talking 13-10 type of match. 2 defensive slugfests for Buffalo.
I have the Buffalo Bills barely edging the Jets.
Ooh, Rex Ryan gets his revenge in your world.
He gets his revenge. I think the players will play up to that level.
Oh, that's going to be fun. So, yeah, I think that'll do. Do you have anything else to say, Bill? This week is absolutely crucial for playoff predictions.
Nope. I think we nailed it this week.
I love it. I love this week, so this is going to be fun football. All right, we will see you guys next week in Week 10. We'll see you guys then.